Weeks passed since Layla had saved the palace from the scam. Each day she walked through the grand halls with a sense of purpose. She no longer felt like a quiet observer of palace life. Now she was a student, learning from the best teachers the Sheikh could provide. Her days were filled with books, lessons, and challenges, and she enjoyed every moment. Layla's mornings began in the library. The shelves were tall and filled with books on languages, law, finance, and problem-solving. She would carefully read, taking notes and asking questions. Her mind absorbed knowledge quickly, and her teachers were impressed by her curiosity and understanding. In the afternoons, she studied law and finance with the palace advisors. They gave her exercises to identify errors in contracts, analyze numbers, and understand business structures. Layla excelled in every task. She had a natural ability to spot mistakes and see patterns others could not. One day, Sheikh Amir entered the library. He watched Layla working diligently at a large table. "You have learned quickly, Layla," he said. "But knowledge is not only for study, it is for action. You must practice what you learn to make a real difference." Layla looked up and nodded. "I understand, sir. I want to help people avoid mistakes and make wise decisions." The Sheikh smiled. "Good, I will give you a small task. There are reports of new business proposals that may not be trustworthy. I want you to review them and let me know your observations." Layla felt a mixture of excitement and responsibility. She knew this was an important step. She studied the reports carefully. She checked each number, read every term, and researched the companies mentioned. Her sharp eyes noticed irregularities immediately. Some proposals promised unrealistic profits, while others had legal terms written incorrectly. After analyzing the reports, she presented her findings to the Sheikh and his advisors. "These proposals are risky," she explained. "Some companies are not real and the numbers do not make sense. If investments are made, they could lead to losses." The Sheikh and his advisors were impressed. Layla's recommendations were accurate and detailed. They realized that her observations could prevent serious problems for the palace. Sheikh Amir nodded. "You are learning quickly, Layla. Your intelligence and careful thinking are a great gift. Use them wisely." Layla continued her studies, but she also began teaching younger staff members small lessons about careful observation and honesty. She showed them how to check documents, read numbers, and spot mistakes. The staff admired her patience and wisdom, even at her young age. One afternoon, Mariam watched Layla teaching others in the library. She felt proud of her daughter. "You have grown so much," she said softly. "You are not just learning, you are helping others and sharing your knowledge." Layla smiled. "I want to help, Mother. I learned that knowledge is valuable, but it is even more valuable when it helps others." As weeks turned into months, Layla's confidence grew. She learned that intelligence alone was not enough. Courage, honesty, and careful thinking were equally important. She saw that even small voices could make a big difference if they spoke the truth. Sheikh Amir often visited her lessons, observing quietly. He noticed how her mind worked, how she connected ideas, and how she remained calm in difficult situations. "She will do great things," he told his advisors. "Her mind is sharp and her heart is honest. These qualities will guide her well in the future." Layla's story began spreading quietly through the palace. Staff members whispered about the young girl who had saved the palace from a huge scam. They admired her courage, her intelligence, and her humility. Layla did not seek attention, but her actions inspired others. One evening, as Layla walked through the quiet halls, she thought about the journey so far. She realized that her courage had opened doors to knowledge, and her intelligence had turned that knowledge into action. She understood that learning, honesty, and bravery together could create a powerful combination. That night, as she looked at the stars through the palace windows, Layla made a promise to herself. She would continue learning, helping others, and using her mind and heart wisely. She knew that challenges would come, but she was ready. Her journey was only beginning, and she was determined to make it meaningful and impactful. The palace, once a place of routine and luxury, had become a place of learning, courage, and inspiration. Layla had proven that a young mind, when guided by honesty and bravery, could change the course of events and teach valuable lessons to everyone around. The palace had changed since the day Layla had discovered the scam. It was no longer just a place of gold and grandeur. It had become a place of learning, wisdom, and careful observation. Layla had grown from a quiet, curious girl into a confident young learner who inspired everyone around her. Each day, She studied with the palace teachers, learning languages, law, finance, and problem-solving. She had a sharp mind and a kind heart. Her courage and honesty had earned her respect, and her intelligence made her a valuable helper to the sheikh. One morning, Sheikh Amir called Layla to his study. The sunlight streamed through the tall windows, casting a warm glow on the golden walls. "Layla," he said with a smile, "you have learned quickly and your advice has already helped the palace avoid new problems. But today I want to give you a new responsibility." Layla looked at him with curiosity. "What responsibility, sir?" "You will help review important proposals and reports," the sheikh explained. "Your observations and careful thinking can prevent mistakes and protect others." "I trust your judgment." Layla felt proud and determined. She knew that she could help the palace and its people with what she had learned. She nodded. "I will do my best, sir." That afternoon, she began reviewing reports with the advisors. She carefully read every line, checked every number, and questioned every unclear term. Her keen eyes noticed small errors and inconsistencies immediately. When she pointed them out, the advisors were impressed. Many had spent years studying these documents. But Layla's sharp mind found mistakes they had overlooked. Sheikh Amir watched quietly, proud of the young girl who had become a trusted advisor in such a short time. He realized that intelligence and honesty, combined with courage, could create leaders even at a young age. Word of Layla's talent spread quietly throughout the palace. Staff members admired her not only for her sharp mind, but also for her humility. She never boasted or demanded attention. Instead, she quietly observed, learned, and helped wherever she could. Her example inspired others to be more careful, more honest, and more diligent in their work. One evening, Mariam and Layla walked through the palace gardens. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, and the air was calm and sweet. "Mother," Layla said softly, "I have learned so much. I want to keep learning and helping others. I want to make a difference wherever I can." Mariam smiled and held her daughter's hand. "You already are making a difference, Layla. You have shown that intelligence, honesty, and courage are more powerful than wealth or power. You inspire everyone around you." The sheikh called Layla again later that week. "Your work has been excellent," he said. "You have saved the palace from many potential problems. I am proud of your growth. Remember, the lessons you learn here can help many people in the future. Never stop learning and never stop being honest and courageous." Layla nodded. She knew that her journey was just beginning. There would be more challenges, more decisions, and more opportunities to help. But she felt ready. Her courage, intelligence, and careful thinking would guide her through whatever came next. In the following months, Layla continued to study and help the palace. She became a trusted guide for advisors and staff, using her skills to protect the palace and its people from mistakes and deception. The palace had become not only a home of wealth but also a center of wisdom, thanks to her sharp mind and brave heart. Years later, stories of the young girl who had saved the palace from losing $250 million were told quietly among the staff and advisors. Layla had grown into a wise and respected young leader, admired not only for her intelligence but for her courage, honesty, and humility. Looking out over the palace from a high balcony, Layla thought about her journey. From a quiet observer to a confident learner and advisor, she had learned that even small voices could make a great difference. She had seen how courage and honesty could change the world in small but meaningful ways. The palace, with its golden halls and sparkling gardens, would always remember the young girl who had brought wisdom, bravery, and hope to its halls. Layla's journey had shown that a bright mind, a kind heart, and careful observation could shape a future filled with promise, learning, and courage. And so, Layla's story continued, inspiring everyone around her, proving that intelligence and honesty could overcome any challenge, and that even a young voice could create a lasting impact on the world. Mr. Rafiq owned a popular restaurant called Golden Spoon. It was a bright, busy place where families came to enjoy food and laughter. Over the years, the restaurant had become very successful. Mr. Rafiq worked hard every day to make sure everything ran smoothly. He cared about his customers and his employees. Recently, however, he had started noticing small problems. Some dishes were missing from the kitchen. Orders sometimes arrived late. Bills did not always match the orders. He had tried asking the managers, but they said everything was fine. Mr. Rafiq began to wonder if there was something going wrong that he could not see. He decided that the best way to understand the situation was to go undercover. He wanted to see the restaurant as a regular worker would. He put on a plain uniform and a cap to hide his face. He introduced himself to the staff as Sam, a new trainee who wanted to learn about restaurant work. On his first day, Mr. Rafiq, now Sam, felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He had worked in management for years, but he had never spent so much time in the kitchen or served tables. He carried a notebook in his pocket, ready to observe quietly and write down anything unusual. The employees greeted Sam warmly. They smiled and welcomed him to the team. Some were curious about the new trainee, while others were friendly and eager to help him learn. Sam followed a chef named Amir into the kitchen. Amir was a large, strong man with quick hands and a friendly smile. He explained the kitchen routine and showed Sam how to chop vegetables, prepare sauces, and clean up afterward. Sam tried to keep up. The kitchen was busy and noisy. Pots clanged, water splashed, and orders were shouted from one end to another. Sam noticed that Amir sometimes put small amounts of ingredients into containers and hid them behind the counter. At first, Sam thought it might be for special orders or leftover dishes. He decided to watch carefully before jumping to conclusions. Later, Sam worked on the floor, serving tables with a waiter named Bilal. Bilal had a quick smile and moved with ease. Sam noticed that he sometimes added extra items to customers' bills quietly and kept small tips without telling anyone. Sam did not react. He knew he had to understand the reasons behind these actions before judging anyone. By the end of the first day, Sam felt tired but curious. He had seen how the restaurant worked behind the scenes. He realized that while the staff seemed friendly, they also had their secrets. Some tricks were small, like saving extra food, and others were clever ways to earn more tips. Sam understood that these employees were not bad people. They were creative and smart. They just needed guidance. Sam returned home that evening and thought about what he had seen. He wanted to understand each employee better. He wanted to learn why they acted the way they did. He knew that understanding them would be the key to improving the restaurant. The next morning, Sam returned to Golden Spoon with new determination. He planned to spend several days in the kitchen, in the dining area, and observing the staff closely. He wanted to earn their trust. He wanted to see if their tricks were harmless fun, clever ideas, or something that could cause real problems for the restaurant. As he tied his apron and adjusted his cap, he smiled quietly to himself. This undercover work would be challenging, but he felt ready. He knew that by seeing the restaurant from the perspective of a worker, he could make better decisions. He could find ways to help his employees and improve the business at the same time. Little did Sam know, the next few weeks would bring surprising discoveries. He would see tricks he had never imagined. Some would make him laugh and others would make him worry. But one thing was certain. His adventure as Sam, the trainee, was only beginning, and it would change Golden Spoon forever. Sam's second day at Golden Spoon began early in the morning. The restaurant was still quiet, and the smell of fresh bread filled the air. Sam arrived before the staff, ready to learn more about the kitchen. He wore his plain uniform and cap, blending in with the other workers. Amir, the head chef, greeted him with a nod. "Ready to work today, Sam?" he asked. Sam smiled and nodded. He had learned a few things the previous day, but today he wanted to pay closer attention to the small details. The kitchen was busy. Orders came in quickly and the chefs moved fast. Sam chopped vegetables, cleaned counters, and tried to keep up with Amir. He noticed small habits in the kitchen. Some employees were very careful, making sure every dish looked perfect. Others were a little careless, rushing to finish their work. While peeling potatoes, Sam saw Amir put a few spices into a small container behind the counter. Sam paused and watched. Amir then used some of the spices in a dish, but the rest seemed to disappear. Sam wondered why. Perhaps it was for a later order or a special request. He decided to wait and observe more before asking. Later, Sam helped Amir prepare sauces. He noticed that another cook named Farid was very clever. Farid would pretend to be busy washing dishes but would secretly hide small snacks in a corner. Sam smiled quietly. These were small tricks, but they showed how creative the employees could be. After the morning rush, Sam moved to the dining area to help serve customers. Bilal, the waiter he had noticed before, worked beside him. Bilal greeted customers with a smile and took orders quickly. But Sam noticed something unusual. Bilal would sometimes add small extra items to the bill or change a customer's order slightly. Most people did not notice. Sam realized this was one of the clever tricks employees used to earn extra tips. Sam began writing notes in his small notebook. He wanted to understand why the staff behaved this way. He observed quietly, asking himself if these tricks were harmless or if they could cause problems. It was clear that the employees were smart and playful. They found small ways to make work more fun or gain a little extra. During lunch, a family came to the restaurant. Sam helped serve them and watched the staff carefully. Amir prepared the dishes perfectly, but Farid added extra portions for himself while pretending to serve the table. Bilal served the family with care, but a quick glance showed that he had changed some orders slightly. Sam felt surprised but not upset. He realized that the employees were not dishonest in a harmful way. They were just clever and sometimes mischievous. He understood that he needed to learn more about their actions before making any decisions. After the lunch rush, Sam helped clean the kitchen and organize ingredients. He noticed small acts of kindness as well. Some employees shared food quietly with each other. Others helped a coworker finish a dish without being asked. Sam understood that while tricks existed, teamwork and care were also strong in this kitchen. By the end of the day, Sam felt tired but happy. He had learned more about the restaurant, the employees, and the small tricks they used. He realized that if he wanted Golden Spoon to succeed, he had to understand these tricks and find ways to use the employees' creativity for good. Before leaving, Sam spoke to Amir privately. "The kitchen is impressive," he said. "Everyone works hard, but some things seem unusual." Amir smiled. "You will learn the reasons soon," he replied. Sam nodded quietly, knowing he had a lot more to discover. As Sam walked home that evening, he thought about what he had seen. He realized that being undercover was not just about catching mistakes. It was about understanding people, their motivations, and their talents. He felt curious about the next day. What would he learn about Bilal, Farid, Amir, and the others? Little did Sam know the next days would reveal even more surprising tricks. Some would make him laugh, others would test his patience. But Sam felt ready. He was learning a new side of his restaurant, and every discovery brought him closer to understanding how Golden Spoon truly worked. By the third day of working undercover, Sam felt more comfortable in the kitchen and on the dining floor. He knew the names of most employees and their usual routines. Amir, the head chef, Farid, the clever cook, and Bilal, the mischievous waiter, had all begun to trust him. They shared small jokes and tips about the job, thinking he was just a new trainee learning the ropes. Sam observed carefully. He wanted to see if the small tricks he had noticed before were one-time acts or habits. He paid attention to every movement in the kitchen and every action on the floor. What he discovered surprised him. Farid, who seemed quiet and helpful, had a habit of hiding small portions of prepared food for himself. He would slide an extra piece of bread under a towel or keep small snacks in a container behind the counter. He never wasted food. He just kept a little for himself. Sam realized Farid was not being greedy, but finding a clever way to enjoy small rewards during long workdays. Bilal, the waiter, had his own tricks. He sometimes rearranged orders slightly or added small extras to customers' bills. Most people would never notice, and the tips he earned this way were small. Sam watched one moment when Bilal swapped 2 plates of food, giving the larger portion to a friend and a smaller one to a customer. Sam could have been upset, but he noticed that Bilal still served the customer politely and with care. It was clever and mischievous, not careless or mean. Even Amir, the head chef, had little tricks. He would sometimes prepare extra dishes quietly during slow hours and hide small portions for later. He did this to make sure nothing went to waste and to have ingredients ready if the restaurant suddenly became busy. Sam began to realize that the employees' tricks were not harmful. They were creative ways to manage their work, make life easier, or earn small rewards. Sam smiled quietly to himself. These were small acts, but they showed how smart and resourceful the staff were. He understood that if these actions were guided positively, they could become strengths for the restaurant. Instead of scolding the employees, he could teach them to use their creativity for the benefit of Golden Spoon. During the lunch rush, Sam noticed another interesting trick. One of the waitresses, Nadia, was serving drinks. She would sometimes pour extra into a customer's glass without asking, and quietly refill it before the customer noticed. At first, Sam thought it was careless, but he realized she was trying to give excellent service and make customers happy. Her little trick added value without costing anything to the restaurant. Later, Sam helped clean tables and noticed small signs of teamwork hidden behind the tricks. Farid shared ingredients quietly with another cook. Bilal helped a coworker serve plates quickly. Even Amir offered advice to younger staff in secret, guiding them without drawing attention. Sam understood that the restaurant had a mix of clever tricks, teamwork, and kindness all at once. By the end of the day, Sam felt both surprised and impressed. He had seen employees bending small rules, but they were never harming anyone. They were finding ways to make work easier, more enjoyable, and sometimes even more profitable. Sam realized that the employees were clever and creative, and that cleverness could be a great asset if properly guided. As Sam closed his notebook that evening, he thought about what he had learned. He realized that these tricks were a reflection of human nature. People wanted rewards, recognition, and little surprises during long, tiring workdays. The tricks were harmless when done carefully, and they revealed talents that he had never noticed from the manager's office. Sam smiled quietly. He knew that the next step would be to understand why these tricks existed and how he could turn them into something positive. He felt excited. The undercover mission was not just about observing mistakes. It was about discovering hidden talent and creativity in his employees. Little did Sam know, the discoveries he had made today were only the beginning. In the days ahead, he would learn more surprising secrets, clever solutions, and small acts of kindness that would change the way he thought about his restaurant. The staff of Golden Spoon were more interesting and inventive than he had ever imagined, and Sam could not wait to learn more. By the fourth day, Sam had become more confident in his role as a trainee. He knew the routines of the kitchen and the dining area, and most of the staff had begun to trust him. They shared small jokes and tips about the job, thinking Sam was just a hardworking new worker eager to learn. Sam noticed that earning trust was more important than just watching the tricks. If employees believed he was one of them, they would act naturally, revealing the real ways they worked. He observed Amir, Farid, Bilal, and the others carefully, not just their actions, but their attitudes and reasons behind their tricks. Bilal, the mischievous waiter, had started talking to Sam more openly. One afternoon, while stacking plates, he whispered jokingly, "Sometimes I add a little extra to the bills, but the boss never notices." Sam laughed politely and nodded, careful not to reveal he was the boss. He wanted Bilal to feel comfortable sharing without fear. Farid, the clever cook, began to tell Sam small stories about life in the kitchen. He explained how he sometimes kept small portions of food for himself during long shifts. "It is not much," Farid said, "just a little treat to keep energy up when it gets busy." Sam nodded, understanding. He realized that these small tricks were harmless and often helped employees feel more motivated. Even Amir, the head chef, shared some secrets. He told Sam about preparing extra dishes quietly during slow hours. He said it helped him manage the kitchen better when unexpected orders arrived. Sam listened carefully, impressed by Amir's cleverness. He realized the employees were not breaking rules out of laziness or greed. They were finding ways to manage work more efficiently while still doing a good job. Over the next few days, Sam focused on observing teamwork. He noticed that the tricks often coexisted with care and cooperation. Farid would hide small snacks, but he would also help a coworker finish a dish without being asked. Bilal would rearrange orders to gain extra tips, but he still made sure customers were happy and polite. Amir's quiet preparations made the kitchen run smoothly, and he guided younger employees without drawing attention. Sam began to understand the employees' motivations. They were clever, playful, and sometimes mischievous, but they cared about the restaurant. Their tricks were a way to feel rewarded, enjoy work, and manage the challenges of busy shifts. Sam realized that trust and respect were more powerful than rules alone. One afternoon, after a busy lunch, Sam helped Farid organize ingredients. Farid started talking about his family and how he sometimes felt tired after long shifts. "We all try our best," Farid said. "Sometimes a little trick makes the day easier." Sam smiled and nodded. He realized that understanding the people behind the work was key. Employees did not need punishment. They needed guidance, encouragement, and trust. Later, Sam helped Bilal carry dishes to the tables. Bilal joked and laughed freely, clearly feeling comfortable around Sam. He talked about clever ways he improved service and handled busy hours. Sam listened and wrote notes quietly, learning not just about tricks but about the ideas and creativity behind them. By the end of the day, Sam felt satisfied. He had earned more trust and learned a great deal about his employees. He understood that their sneaky tricks were not acts of dishonesty, but expressions of cleverness, creativity, and human nature. Sam realized that if guided properly, these talents could strengthen the restaurant instead of causing problems. As Sam walked home, he thought about the day's lessons. Earning trust was not simple, but it revealed the hidden sides of people. He knew that the next days would uncover even more surprises, and he felt ready to see them. He smiled quietly, realizing that understanding people was more important than observing rules. Little did Sam know, the upcoming days would bring secrets, ideas, and teamwork he had never imagined. The employees of Golden Spoon were clever, resourceful, and full of surprises, and Sam was just beginning to see their true potential. By the 5th day, Sam was becoming more comfortable in both the kitchen and the dining area. He had learned to move quietly among the staff, helping when needed and observing carefully without drawing attention. He wanted to understand not only the employees but also how their clever tricks affected the customers. It was a busy afternoon. The restaurant was full of families and friends enjoying lunch. Sam worked alongside Bilal, the mischievous waiter, carrying plates and taking orders. He noticed Bilal smiling and chatting easily with customers. At first, everything seemed normal, but Sam watched closely as the orders were served. Bilal had a clever way of managing the tables. He sometimes switched dishes so that friends or coworkers would get larger portions, while the customers received smaller ones. Most customers did not notice and seemed happy. Sam realized that the employees were very careful to avoid upsetting anyone. They wanted to enjoy their little tricks without hurting the restaurant's reputation. In the kitchen, Sam noticed Farid preparing dishes in his usual way. He sometimes kept small portions for himself while making sure the main orders were perfect. Sam understood that these tricks were harmless. Farid always made sure the customers got exactly what they ordered. The extra portions were just a reward for himself during long, tiring hours. During lunch, a family came in with 2 children. Sam helped serve them and watched how the employees interacted with them. Bilal served the father's plate first, then the mother's, and quietly adjusted the children's portions. The kids smiled and seemed excited, but Sam noticed that the portions were slightly smaller than usual. He could tell the employees were balancing their little tricks carefully, so no customer would feel disappointed. Sam began to take notes. He wanted to understand the consequences of the employees' actions. While the tricks were clever, he realized they could sometimes affect the customer experience if not managed carefully. For example, giving extra portions to one person and smaller portions to another could be noticed by attentive customers. Sam knew he would need to think about this later. He also observed small acts of kindness. A waitress quietly refilled a water glass before the customer asked. Another employee offered extra bread to a table with children. Even though some employees used tricks for their own benefit, they also cared about the customers. Sam realized that these employees had a balance of cleverness and kindness. After the lunch rush, Sam helped clean tables and watched the reactions of the customers. Most were smiling and chatting happily. A few noticed small mistakes, but none seemed upset. Sam felt reassured that the employees' clever tricks did not harm the reputation of the restaurant. Instead, the staff were finding ways to make work easier while still giving good service. Sam also paid attention to teamwork. Bilal helped another waiter carry plates quickly, and Farid offered extra sauce for a table when the chef was busy. Even the small tricks seemed connected to cooperation. Sam realized that the staff had created their own system. They balanced work, mischief, and kindness to keep the restaurant running smoothly. By the end of the day, Sam felt both surprised and impressed. He had learned more about how the employees' actions affected the customers. The tricks were clever but mostly harmless. They revealed creativity, resourcefulness, and teamwork. Sam understood that his employees were talented, and their cleverness could be guided in a positive way to improve the restaurant even further. As Sam walked home that evening, he thought about the day's observations. The staff of Golden Spoon were not just clever, they were thoughtful and careful. They knew how to make their little tricks work, without upsetting anyone. Sam smiled quietly. He realized that by understanding both the employees and the customers, he could find ways to make the restaurant even better. Little did Sam know, the next days would bring surprises he had never imagined. Some tricks would be even more clever, some acts of kindness would be touching, and some challenges would test his patience. Sam felt ready for all of it. His undercover mission was far from over, and the restaurant was full of hidden talent waiting to be discovered. After 2 weeks of working undercover, Sam felt he had learned a lot about his employees. He knew their habits, their clever tricks, and their little ways of helping or amusing themselves. But he also knew that to truly understand them, he had to reveal his true identity. He wanted to see how they would react and also explain why he had spent so much time observing. One busy afternoon, after the lunch crowd had left, Sam called a quick meeting in the small staff room. The employees gathered, curious to know what was happening. Sam cleared his throat and smiled. "I have something important to tell all of you," he said. Everyone looked at him, waiting. "I have been working here as Sam, your new trainee," he continued. "But the truth is, I am Mr. Rafiq, the owner of Golden Spoon." The room went silent. The employees stared at him in shock, their mouths slightly open. Bilal dropped a tray of empty glasses. Farid froze in place. Even Amir, who usually looked calm and confident, blinked in surprise. Some employees laughed nervously. "You were Sam?" Bilal asked. "All this time?" He shook his head in disbelief. The others exchanged glances, some smiling and some looking guilty. They had never expected the boss to be working right beside them without revealing himself. Sam raised his hand gently. "I am not angry," he said. "I wanted to understand how the restaurant really works and why some things were not as smooth as they should be. I wanted to see your actions, your ideas, and your ways of handling the challenges here." Farid spoke quietly. "We thought we were just helping each other and sometimes having small fun. We did not think it would be a problem." Sam nodded. "I understand," he said. "I have seen how clever and hardworking all of you are. Some of the tricks I noticed were harmless, but some could have caused problems if left unchecked." Bilal scratched his head. "I was just trying to help the tables move faster and make a little extra for tips," he admitted. "I never meant to upset anyone," Sam smiled. "I know, Bilal. I saw that you always tried to serve customers politely even when you were using clever tricks. You cared about them, and that is important." Amir spoke next. "I sometimes prepared extra dishes or hid small portions for later. I thought it would help the kitchen run better." Sam nodded. "And it did help. But now I understand why we need to guide these actions carefully. You all have talent, and your creativity can become a strength for the restaurant if used properly." The employees relaxed slightly. They realized that Sam, or rather Mr. Rafiq, was not there to punish them. He wanted to understand them and help them improve. He encouraged them to speak openly about their experiences and ideas. Nadia, one of the waitresses, spoke softly. "We sometimes feel tired or overworked. A small trick or clever idea helps us manage. We never wanted to cause trouble." Sam listened carefully. "I understand, Nadia. Your cleverness shows how much you care about doing your job well. My goal is to guide this energy so it benefits both you and the restaurant." The meeting continued with everyone sharing small stories, confessions, and ideas. Sam smiled as he listened. He realized that his employees were not just following routines, they were creative, resourceful, and full of energy. Their tricks were signs of intelligence, not dishonesty. By the end of the meeting, the atmosphere in the staff room had changed. The employees felt respected and understood. They were no longer worried about being caught. Instead, they felt motivated and inspired. Sam realized that honesty and trust had opened the door to a new understanding. As the staff returned to their work, Sam felt proud. He had learned more than he expected. He knew the next step would be to guide these clever employees so their talents could strengthen the restaurant. Golden Spoon was not just a restaurant. It was a place full of hidden creativity waiting to shine.